Henry joins us tonight.
Tucker, good to see you. He's going to meet with the president on Thursday. It was a strange day today, as you know, when one of our producers had to put out an email assuring all of us, quote, Rod Rosenstein is still the Deputy Attorney General of the United States, but then quickly added, right now, because we don't know how long it will last. The source close to Rosenstein tells us he went to this meeting today at the White House expecting he was going to be fired by the Chief of Staff, John Kelly. But during that meeting, Kelly put him on the phone with the president, who's in New York for UN meetings, to discuss that bombshell report about the May 2017 meeting where Rosenstein discussed with Andy McCabe and others the possibility of wearing a wire to record the president and try to invoke the 25th Amendment. Rosenstein insists he was joking, and some of the president's advisors think this may have been a false flag designed by McCabe and others to get the president to overreact and help Democrats who would use a Rosenstein firing to try and impeach the president. McCabe, who's under federal investigation for leaking to the media and then lying about it, insists he had nothing to do with this leak to the New York Times. And it's important Rosenstein not be fired because he oversees special counsel Robert Mueller. While I was hosting Fox and Friends over the weekend, I interviewed Ian Pryor. He's been on this program. He used to work with Rosenstein at the Justice Department. He believes Rosenstein was so stunned by McCabe's anti-Trump behavior at that May 2017 meeting that Rosenstein sarcastically said, oh, sure, I'll wear a wire. And that after the meeting, he appointed Mueller because Rosenstein knew he had to keep the Russia probe far from McCabe. That basically, Tucker, bringing in Mueller, who might be seen as more fair as a former FBI director, was important because Rosenstein was so alarmed that McCabe and Lisa Page, who was in this May 2017 meeting, were out to get the president. That's what some of the president's allies have believed. And it's interesting that people who have recently left the Justice Department are now trying to say that as well. It's fascinating.
You ever spend time in a Latin American capital where there's just an ongoing swirl of rumor and conspiracy and nobody believes the official story about anything? That's what Washington is right now.
I've read about it.
It's like a Graham Greene novel. It's unbelievable. Thank you. Great to see you. Joining us tonight, author and columnist Mark Steyn, who has X-ray vision in stories like this. What do you think this is really about, Mark?
Well, this is, as you said, the classic espionage wilderness of mirrors. As Ed said, basically, the idea is that this is a setup. This was deliberately leaked by an anti-Trump person to provoke Trump into firing Rod Rosenstein in order to assist the Democrats in the midterm elections. That's why Rosenstein's position is secure. If you're less conspiratorial, though, it's clear that there is no honor among thieves and that the vast number of people that have been removed from the highest levels of the FBI and the Department of Justice in the last few months all have an incentive to slip the shiv to Rosenstein as the guy who's still there. They're basically in the position, you know how it works with corporate crimes when the U.S. attorney tries to persuade the chief financial officer to turn on the chief executive officer. That's the position these guys are in order to avoid their own criminal liability. Leaking stuff about Rosenstein, who's still there, is in their so to be super conspiratorial, it's actually, if he did offer to wear a wire and use the 25th Amendment to depose Trump, it's in Trump's interest to keep him as Deputy Attorney General forever and encourage McCabe and Comey and the rest of them to leak dirt on him. This is the craziness of what happens when a Latin American bureaucracy decides, in effect, to try and nullify the result of the election, which is
what's totally right. That's exactly what and that's why it reminds me of, Managua, 1988. But really quickly, if you think that Rosenstein is your enemy, and he probably actually on some level is Trump's enemy, wouldn't you want to keep him close and not cast him out into book contract world?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think if I was Rosenstein as well, I think book contract world isn't really an option. There's too many books out there.
Good point.
But I think basically, we had an attempted internal coup against the winner of the 2016 election. Rosenstein should be fired. He should have recused himself, but it's politically impossible to do that. So the thing to do now is keep him there forever and make him suffer. And Trump should do that. He should find humiliating things for him to do. If we're going to have all these stupid things where you have to investigate what happened at a high school dance in 1973 deep in Idaho or wherever the next judge comes from, send him over there for like a 6-year investigation into what happened at the middle school prom in 1964. Trump should find ways to torture.
And you've got to wear a funny hat while you do it. Maybe a Viking one with horns or something. I totally agree. I like your style, Mark Steyn. Thank you very much for that.
Thanks a lot, Tucker.
Well, a new study from 3 Yale researchers took a